do this, man?
Yes, sir.
Ready to talk some of this Mando?
Oh, hell yes.
So I'm at a very happy place right now, my friend. I'm at a very happy place. That was
bro. That shit right there, man. Like I said to my man Lavis tonight on After Dark, man. I didn't think they were gonna hold and pull any punches with this first episode, but I wasn't expecting this, man. I wasn't expecting this at all. Bro.
Yeah, this was crazy. So many different things that we're gonna get into. Again, I just want to say to everybody, spoiler warning. We're going deep. We're going deep on all of the spoilers, everything that happened in this episode, and there was a lot of stuff that happened.
Oh, bro, like yes.
So
yes, let's get it.
Give me your just raw reaction. And you were saying something before we went live about the beginning of the episode versus the end of the episode. Give me like your first raw reaction. I'll give you mine, and then we'll start kind of going through the episode, kind of breaking it down.
Yeah. For me, man, it was like watching it. I have to admit, like the first 15, 20 minutes, I was kind of like, okay, is this going anywhere? Like, this just seems like, filler shit for the first episode. But then it started picking up, man. And I was like, by the time we got to the end of that joint, I was just like, this is what I stayed up for. This is what I came to see, man. And like, you get Cobb Vanth, and you got Boba Fett's armor, the whole joint. And then you get to the end and the reveal, and it's like, this is what it's about, man. I was like, all right, you brought me home, because the first third of the episode, man, it was kind of like it was laboring a little bit, I thought, in my opinion, but it was just, they always do it right, man. They always do it right when it comes to Mando.
Yeah, man. So I'll tell you a couple things. So I feel where you're coming from with the beginning of the episode. I couldn't tell if it was just because I was still a little groggy, and I was sipping on the coffee, but I wasn't like fully awake, and I was like, okay, we're rolling into this. But I will say, it was so interesting to go right into that scene from the trailer with the Gamorreans fighting, and the Gamorrean fighting scene was awesome, and a lot of odes to Iron Man 1. With them taking the shots where he gets hit into the other dude, with his helmet and stuff like that. I thought it was fantastic. And as soon as he asked about the Mandalorian and it was told that it was on Tatooine, I was immediately like, okay, well, we know where that's going. You know what I mean? Like, we know where that's going. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's really early in the morning for many of us here, but I'm going to really need you guys to smash the like button. We need to get to 70 likes, or Al and I are both going to fall asleep in the next 10 minutes, and this stream is going to be over. So you're going to need to get those likes up there. Otherwise,
smash
my
that
bed
like,
is
man.
Very close. You know what I mean? Okay, thank you.
I'm sad.
So, but that, to me, the biggest takeaway, brother, the biggest thing that's on my mind, scale. Scale.
Yeah.
Dude, we saw Tatooine last season.
Right.
But we didn't see like crane shot, drone shot, epic, beautiful sandscapes, the shots of the creature, man. Don't even get me started on the creature. The creature was incredible. But that's my biggest takeaway was the scope. I was like, okay, first of all, this episode's much longer, but damn, bro, the scope, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. I'm right there with you, man. It was like, when we got that episode on Tatooine last season, you could kind of tell like that was almost like made for TV, like small scale.
Yeah.
But like you almost expected, like at least I did, like with the success that they had with this joint, man, like you knew they were going to come out swinging on season because they really want to try to make it bigger and better. And it was just, I'm with you, man. Like the shots, you got like all the panning shots in the desert, man. And you really got a sense of you were being on the planet of Tatooine. Like you saw it was different locations. You weren't in like that same central spot. And it was the whole joint, man. It was just like, you really could tell they didn't come to fuck around this time, man. Like it was crazy.
It was. I want to say something right off the bat, just because I see it in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not understand that was Boba Fett at the end of the episode, I get you, but that was 100% Boba Fett. And we will explain that. We're going to get there. That was Boba Fett. Like, a lot of the stuff that we had been speculating about took place in this episode, okay? So, Boba Fett, totally real. Cobb Vanth, totally real. Boba Fett's armor being in the show, totally real. A lot of this stuff we have been reporting on, we've been talking about. That was 100% Boba Fett at the end of the episode. So let's just put that to bed right away. Yeah. Now, going back to what you were saying about Tatooine, man, I'll tell you, my favorite piece of music in the whole episode is when he's riding into that town on the speeder, and it's got that twang, that like fucking Western twang, and you're just like, oh shit, dude. And just another random thought here, bro. This was probably the episode after which where Pedro Pascal threw a fucking fit, because can you imagine playing off of Timothy Olyphant, and this guy's got his helmet off like the whole episode, just pretty boying it up, man, hair back, the whole thing, and he's sitting there in that fucking helmet in the desert the whole time, dude.
Hell yeah, like, this is a bitch. I'm out here. This is my show. Yeah,
right.
Man. Like, for real, man. Yeah. Like, it was crazy, and like the music, man. Like, I think my man's name is Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah,
that does the soundtrack.
Ludwig Göransson, I think. Yeah, Swedish dude.
Yeah, Swedish dude. And but I mean, his is always with him. Like, this dude is like the spirit successor to John Williams with this shit, man. It's like the way he's able to encapsulate not just the ambiance, but like the feel and the tone with the music, and it's got like a dope vibe. Like, give me this OST to just jam in the ride, man. Like, that music is just so epic. And like you said, that part where he pulls up in that town, man, and everybody's kind of giving him the side eye, like, that music totally reminded me of like some old school Western type shit. Yeah, man. It was crazy. It was crazy.
So let's just jump to something. I gotta jump to the Boba thing. Everybody's freaking out about it. I wanna jump to the Boba thing. So
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this. So one of the things that has been on everybody's mind, as far as from a canon perspective, we've known that Cobb Vanth has had the armor. And we've known that Cobb Vanth has been on Tatooine. The question was, if Boba was alive and he survived the Sarlacc, if he's on Tatooine, nobody knows about him except that one guy, right? Because I don't think dude at the beginning, the Gore dude or whatever that dude, I don't think that guy was referring to Cobb Vanth when he said there's a Mandalorian. He said there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine, and he's got good info, right? And so when we see Boba at the end of the episode, just kind of in a robe, looking almost like Aborigine-like, it seems like that's what he's been doing, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You know what was crazy to me, and I thought for a split second in that episode, I thought Boba Fett was going to be one of the fucking sand people in disguise.
Right.
Like, I thought it was going to be like, you were going to find out like we did eventually at the end of the episode, but I was waiting for that like WTF moment with Boba. And I mean, it makes perfect sense to me, man. I mean, it's like, he probably, like, who knows how he was able to survive, but he would have lost that armor that way. And the way that, like you said, the way dude was talking at the beginning of that episode, man, he wasn't talking about just some cat rocking the uniform, like the armor. He was talking about like, no, he was talking about a Mando. Yeah. Like, he knows, like, almost like he's had an encounter with this cat. So you knew like at some point we were gonna get that confirmation, man.
Yeah, and it's just so wild because like nobody on Tatooine seems to know that he's there either. So he's definitely on the low. The question would be, of course, why, right? And why is he letting, this is another thing, why is he letting Cobb Vanth just hang,
parade around,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a very strange, I mean, I think we've got a piece of the puzzle now. You know what I mean? We've got a piece of the puzzle. There's still plenty to unravel, which is where the excitement and where the fun comes in. So I wanted to jump there. Let's do Sufi's super chat here, and then we'll jump into some other stuff here. Yo, what's up, Geekdom? I see you, baby. Woo! That ending. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Sufi, yo, just wanted to pop in. Still watching. They're about to take down this sand lizard. Haha. Yeah. Sufi, yo, you're gonna love it. Come back in here after you finish it. Okay, so we talked about the Boba stuff. Now, let's kind of take it back and go through the stuff with the villagers, the stuff with the sand people. I thought that was pretty interesting, man. What did you think of the sand people and the villagers and stuff, like, working together? What were your thoughts on that?
Somebody when we were doing the watch party, somebody brought up this point, and I thought it was spot on. It was like, watching that shit just made the whole Anakin slaughtering the sand people so much more fucked up.
Yeah,
like it was like, because it like, and you could almost tell in this episode, like, they were trying to humanize these cats to, like, show you a different side of them, because I think we all kind of just looked at them like these savages and like these savage raiders that kidnapped Shmi and the whole nine. But to see them actually being willing to work with people, and whatnot, it's like, damn, and that cat just walked through there and, like, slaughtered these mofos. Like, it was that's the way it kind of hit me. But I thought it was really good because it shows.
Oh, I lost you for a second, man. You still there? Let me try something real quick here. Hang on, brother. Lost you for a second there.
You still got me?
I think I got you now. I just switched to a Midwest server, so that should help out.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, we lost you a little bit. Retread a little bit.
Yeah. So no, I was saying, like, to see them in that, just to see them in that ecosystem and see them interact with people on Tatooine, right? It's like we've seen them in the movies. We've seen how that goes, but to actually have them and see them kind of working, it's like, damn, okay, so, like, they're not all isolated and off to themselves. They do work or they are willing to work with other people or whatnot. So for me, like, that's what was the dope part about it for me, was just seeing it from that aspect. And like I said, man, it just brought me back to my boy Anakin regulating on them cats and just being like, damn, man, like, crazy.
Cold-blooded. Yeah, no, for real. Yeah. Dude, yeah, you're not wrong. I'm having trouble getting your video back on here. I'm gonna try to figure it out. But no, I think that's a totally fair point. I think my personal thing, man, is that, like, that's kind of a risky thing to, like, try to just to pull off like that, because you run the risk of it being, like, cheesy, feeling like heavy-handed, like you've got the indigenous peoples, you know what I mean, like, chilling with, because it's a very similar trope to what we even see in, I think it was episode 4 of last season, the Bryce episode where we first get Gina. Where they do the whole
same thing.
Village thing where they're, like, doing all that. So you run the risk of it being kind of lame. For me, it worked. I think some of the reasons it worked were because, I mean, dude, the fucking Banthas were dope. Like, the Banthas were just dope, dude. They just looked awesome. Like, I don't know which one to say.
It was clean as shit, man.
Yeah, and
that was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, that's the thing though. It's like this. If this doesn't give you faith in Filoni and Favreau and what they got going on, and, like, I don't know what else to fucking tell you, because it's like the things that they're doing, like you said, that had a potential to fall really flat with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have really screwed that up, but it was done in a way, like, even the communication and the way, like, the Mando was talking to them and whatnot, and communicating, like, it was all within the realm of that whole atmosphere was believable. Like, you're like, okay, like, this dude really knows how to, like, and it makes sense that a Mandalorian would know how to relate to them on that level. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was just like, it was beautiful, man, like the way that they worked that out. And I was just like, I was so here for all of that shit, man. I was just like, this is exactly what I was hoping this was going to turn out to be.
Now, let's talk about Cobb Vanth himself, character that we have very little experience with, from the aftermath. I thought it was an interesting choice in general to bring him in, but I suppose if you're John and you want Boba, you know what I mean? Like, you just want Boba back, you have to reverse engineer back from where we're at. And I did think it was pretty cool how they were like, I mean, that is literally what happens in the novel. He gets it off the Jawas just like that. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. What did you think of the Cobb Vanth character in the episode?
I thought he was pretty cool. Like, I wasn't like totally over the moon with dude because I just felt like he really didn't. And maybe this was their whole intent with it, but it was like, to me, the armor didn't really suit him the way that I thought it would. It was kind of awkward. Even, you know, with him using the rocket was kind of weird. But it was just like, for the purposes of bringing him to the live action show, I thought it was cool as hell because, you know, knowing that character, and I want to see more of that type of stuff. I want to see them bring more of these characters from these other areas, like the books and the cartoons or whatever, and translate them into these live action shows and into the Mando season 2. So for me, it's like, okay, we had some idea of who this dude was. We knew kind of a little bit of his story, and to see him really smoothly moved into this episode, it's like, all right, cool. So it just whets the appetite for what else you know is coming down the pipe. So it's like when we start getting to those real heavy hitters, it's just going to be amazing, man, to see how they're able to translate those characters.
Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate. I mean, I think that's a good take. I'll tell you this. I actually really liked him because I didn't love him, if that makes any sense. Because,
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's like he does look like a poor man's Boba Fett, basically.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's good because I don't want like the fake Boba Fett to look like all that. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
So
exactly.
Like, and he's a little squirrely, to be honest with you. Like the way Oliphant plays him is like he's a little squirrely, and I think it's kind of perfect for the character. You know?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I enjoyed him, and I enjoyed his dynamic with the townspeople and whatever. That was cool.
Gotcha.
When we were watching on the watch party, I remember like when he says we got to work with the sand people, and like the whole John is like
hell nah.
And we were like, not the sand people, anybody but the sand people, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Freaking hilarious, bro.
Yeah. I'm going to address a couple of these super chats and then we'll just keep rolling on this.
Yes, sir.
Jamie Hunt says, I have a feeling the armor is Rook cast. She'd be around 45 to 50 years old and she didn't die in the Clone Wars. That'd be really interesting. I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go. I don't know if the armor necessarily has to be anybody. But that's kind of cool. It's a cool little thought there, Jamie. Why not? Then John Campbell, thank you for the support as well, says, see all the graffiti made me think of Sabine. It did, didn't it? And what do you think, man? What do you think that planet was? What do you think those little like red-eyed creatures were at the beginning?
I have no idea what those red-eyed joints were, but that planet gave me some serious Corellian vibes at first. Like watching him walk down that pathway just reminded me of that first scene from Solo. And it was when him and Kara were trying to escape, and it was just like, damn, is that where they are right now? Like, is this what it is? And I was like, the artwork definitely gave me the Sabine vibes. I almost want to go back and look because I thought I saw like a C-3PO little reference,
dude,
or
me
Easter
too.
egg on the wall, bro. And I was like, is that C-3PO? But like, it was just, dude, the whole joint, like even like the red eyes and those little creatures when they were like lighting up as they were going, man. Like, it's just those little touches, bro. It's just it's dope as hell, man, the way that they made it work.
Yeah.
And I definitely thought like that planet gave me Corellia vibes.
Yeah, it gave me Corellia vibes too. People were saying Taurus, and it could have been either way. It was so well done. Not a very nice opening. You know, you got like a very quiet opening. He's not talking a lot, and then we go right into a scene that we have seen before. But it was awesome. Like, and there was so much more to it. And his vibro knife work was like, whoa.
Oh, bro, yes.
That shit was dope. So I very much liked that. The graffiti definitely reminded me of Sabine. I almost thought, like, wouldn't it be crazy if like Sasha Banks was like watching him from afar or some shit? You know what I mean? But we didn't necessarily get any of that. You know, I'm just gonna jump around on shit because like it's 5 in the morning.
That's right.
People was saying about the pod racer thing, man. When I saw, dude, when I saw that Cobb Vanth was rocking a pod racer engine speeder, and a lot of people are saying this, but I think it's true. Anakin's
speed, yes.
What do you think, man?
Like dude, I was right there with him. I saw it. I'm like, first I'm like you. I'm like, is this mofo on a pod racer speeder? Like, wait a minute. And then I'm starting to look at it and I'm like, don't tell me he didn't got Anakin speeder, bro.
Yeah,
like,
oh
come
my
on,
god,
man.
dude.
Like, this shit is just so, and you know, it's so a Filoni like kind of thing to do, to just cram those like deep cuts in on people, to where it's like you go back and you watch it like 2 or 3 times and you catch that little shit, and it's just dude. Let me find out he's on Anakin's speeder on his pod racer, bro. Like, I'm gonna lose my shit, man.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Like,
I'm gonna get that figure. I'm gonna get that toy.
Oh, yeah.
That pod racer engine toy. That's my shit. That's going in my fan fictions. That's too nice, dude.
That's next level right there, man.
And it even made the sounds. You know what I mean? Like those.
Yes.
You know, like what I was like, whew. So yeah, that was incredible. A lot of people were talking about R5. I thought R5 was a really dope cameo. Even has the jump blown out in the back from, you know, A New Hope.
Yep.
But I think that was actually in season 1. Anyways.
Season 1 also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are talking about Sam Witwer's cameo. What was the cameo? I missed it. Did you see Sam Witwer's cameo?
No, I totally missed that. Yeah,
somebody let us know, what was the Sam Witwer at 1307? What was he? Like, was it just like a random ass cameo or whatever? Dude, look at all these people that have the exact
everybody.
timestamps. Like, everybody's like,
hey, it was on it.
Damn. He played the dude with the long hair. Oh, okay, right on. Oh, was he the spiky dude with the spikes in his face or some shit? James Arnold Taylor was in there too. Okay.
Yeah, I had to go. I definitely go back and check it out.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
That's what's up.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit, they're really on it. Yeah, man. So let's finish off with just kind of talking about the worm, that whole sequence. It's a big build towards the end of the episode. And then we'll speculate about where we think all this is going. What were your thoughts on the dragon? Just give me everything.
Yeah, again, when they first showed it going through the town or whatnot, I was like, okay, this is dope. And then I'm like, all right, like, what's the point? Like, are we just rehashing, what was it, episode 2 from season 1? It's going to be another situation like that. But dude, once they got to the point where they were like squaring off against this thing, man, I was like, bro, this is like the part that got me was when the motherfucker came out the mountain and was like spewing the green shit, bro. I was like, oh, it looked, dude, that looked almost on par with anything you would see on a big screen.
Oh,
like
that's my thoughts exactly.
And that's the thing that was getting me, like, with the whole thing, like when they took off on the jetpacks and flew up to go like meet him up there, I'm like, dude, this looks like some cinematic shit. Like, this is not what people are used to. Like, this is going to make other studios have to step their game up.
Oh yeah,
like, you got to come correct, because Mando is like letting y'all know, like, we ain't playing games out here.
Yeah,
and
that was just dude, that scene, this sequence, this episode is a shot across the bow to so many different things.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think John was literally like, I'm gonna do Villanueva's Dune before he does it on streaming, and it's gonna be better. And I'm not saying this episode's better than the Dune movie, but it is. And it's definitely better than that David Lynch shit.
Hell yeah.
But beyond that, man, again, scope. Like, what an insane idea. You can tell. And this is really what I love about, like, John's work, is like the writing is not constrained by the format. Like, he must have wrote this thing as though he's writing it from the perspective of like what would be dope and crazy and insane and grand. He's not thinking about like, how are we going to do this on the volume? You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. Well, we're going to do a dragon. Like, we're going to put a fucking dragon in Tatooine. With acid breath. You know what I mean? Like, dude, what? Like, and then the scene that's like ridiculous is when the sand dude goes out with the bait and then the dragon eats him.
Yes.
That is Star Wars humor. That is Star Wars humor. Take fucking notice, Rian Johnson.
Talk
we don't
your
even have
shit,
to go
Josh
there.
Lucas.
We don't even have to go there, but you know
go.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
You don't laugh at it. You laugh with it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like that shit. That's what, and like you said, man, that's the way you do it. That's the way you put humor in Star Wars. And it was the most hilarious shit ever, man. It's like you sitting there waiting for this whole, and it's like, nah, son, I'm about to snack on your ass.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, damn it. But that whole thing, man, and then like the way they took it down, and you just see the explosion and the effects that are tied to the explosions, man, when they're like battling this damn dragon. It's just like I said, man, that's like box office climax type shit. That's not like, you don't expect to see that quality on a streaming service show. Like you just have not seen anything like that. And if that's what we're gonna be getting all season long from Mando, then like, I don't know if I'm ready, man. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm gonna address a couple of these supers and then we'll talk about future expectations. Bren coming in hot with the $4.99. Thank you for the support. Hey guys, do you think there is any chance at all that the man at the end could have been Rex or another clone, or are you totally set on it being Boba? So it is 100% Boba Fett. However, Tamara Morrison is also likely to show up this season as Rex. So he will be playing Rex as well as playing Boba. That was Boba. But yeah, what do you think, Al? You wanna address that at all?
Yeah, I mean, that's I think we pretty much established, man. That's Boba. That's not. I can't wait to see Rex, but that's anybody trying to convince themselves that that's Rex and not Boba. Nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. G. That's Boba.
I mean, yeah. And the thing is, it's like at this point, it's like it doesn't really even matter because you're going to be proven wrong within a couple of weeks. So like it's all good to me. Like I don't really care. You know what I mean? If you want to, honestly, why not? You know what I mean? Have a little surprise, have a little whatever. You know, it's all good. Whatever you want to do. Patricia's coming in hot with the $10. Oh my God! Thank you so much for the support. As Fatal J says, smash that like button because it's free. You know what?
It's free.
That is true. Fatal J is a wise man. I agree. You should hit the like button because it's free, everybody. So, Al, let's talk future, man. I think the biggest question right off the bat is, are we going right into meeting Boba in the next episode, or are we going to meet up with him later?
I think that we will meet up with Boba later on. I think we will end up, I think what's going to end up happening in this series is it's going to be kind of the same way the season 1 was, where you meet these characters kind of individually, and then there's an episode that brings them all together. But I think what will happen is that episode is going to happen a hell of a lot sooner than like the last couple of episodes of the season. Like we might not necessarily touch on Boba immediately in episode 2, but by episode 3, Boba's coming back into the picture. If he's not in 2, I think episode 2 will be another one of these surprise kind of appearances or cameos, if you will. Yeah. And then we're going to just start to see everything coming together, man. And it's just going to be like all of a sudden by the midpoint of the season, shit's going to take off. And we just going to be like jonesing for even more than we are right now, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel you. Here's what I think. It's possible we don't go directly to Boba, but I think that Mando is not going to leave Tatooine without meeting Boba. So like we would have to we'd have to go somewhere else. So my gut actually tells me we will resolve the Boba thing in the next episode. I do. Okay. I do believe that. Okay. And the reason is because if you think about it, the whole reason he is there is to meet a Mandalorian. He sees the armor and obviously wants to get the armor, but he's really there for a Mandalorian. And unless he's going to just think that the intel was bad, which I don't think he's going to, because they literally made it a point to explain to the audience that info was good, right? And that Mando knew the info was good. So I think that we might actually see that resolved in the next episode. But here's the caveat. I think we might have an interaction with them, but I do not think Boba's just gonna join up with the team. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, without
so
question.
In that sense, you're right. He'll be sidelined and then perhaps come back later. But I think they might address it right away. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that makes a whole lot of sense, man. When you put it that way, I could definitely see, Boba kind of them tying that up in episode 2. I just think, there is still, the possibility that he plays the background, but that Mando doesn't leave Tatooine, because there's no telling what else he could, encounter on Tatooine, or who else he might encounter on Tatooine en route to trying to find Boba, because it could be that he runs into somebody else who kind of tells him that they suspect that Boba's alive, or that they know Boba's alive somewhere. And so then it's like episode 2 has its own little story, but the backdrop is they're on their way to go find my dude.
Sure.
So I could see it that way, but I think it does make a lot of sense that, that will get resolved before they leave Tatooine. Or before he leaves Tatooine. So from that perspective, I think you might be right. I think we might end up seeing Boba a lot sooner than episode 3. I think he might be in the very next one.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah. This is the next part of it. When we see the armor taken back, I think it's only the chest piece, the parts of the gauntlet, and the helmet and the jetpack. Does that seem correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then maybe the person in episode 5 that approaches Fennec is actually Boba, and we don't know if Fennec Shand is alive, which I think she is. Maybe she's with the actual Tamara Morrison Boba Fett. What do you think about that?
That very well could be the case. And thinking about it from that aspect, I think if she is alive, then she's definitely with him, because
let me stop for a second. I just want to, because I didn't do a good job of explaining this, because it's like 5 a.m. But the reason is because the reason people thought that was Boba in season 1 is because of the boots and the spur sound that those boots make. Yeah. It's very iconic to Boba. And what I'm saying is, I didn't see that Cobb Vanth had
them joints on.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I think that's definitely, I think that you definitely are onto something with that. And the fact that we got to meet Cobb Vanth in episode 1 and didn't see or didn't hear anything of Fennec Shand kind of lets you know for sure that she's going to end up being with Boba, because we know it was either one of the two that had to have found her at the end of that episode. And if she wasn't like in Cobb Vanth's custody, she's clearly got to be with Boba somewhere, which means that tells you that Boba knows of the Mandalorian, and that explains exactly why he's there watching over the whole situation, because he's just waiting for his time to do what he got to do. And it's just, that's the way I take that, man. So I think you're spot on with that. I think she's definitely with Boba.
So people were saying you can hear the spur sound when he walked in the bar. I thought that I heard the spur sound when the Mandalorian walked into the bar, not when he did. I have it pulled up though. Let me watch it real quick. Let me see.
Bet.
I'll find out. Let's see.
Many visitors in these parts.
I thought it was right here when he walks in. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. He's going in. Because if we're wrong, we're wrong. We're going to find out here. Yeah, the spur sound is when the Mandalorian walks in.
Okay.
But I will double check. I'm listening. Slight spur sound when he walks in too. So spur sounds for both of them. So it could be him. I'm going to try to find shots of... the thing that I'm wondering is I just didn't see Din get anything other than the chess piece and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got you.
Sorry, I just want to check this out.
Yep.
And then I also want to see if Tamara Morris. Well, you can't really see Tamara's feet, I guess, when he gets in there, huh?
Right. No, I don't think so.
All right.
Sorry.
Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to see this. Yeah, he does not give Mandalorian anything other than the chess piece, the gauntlets, and the thing. So I think that the Spurs, the Boba Fett Spurs, are still on Tamara Morrison, Boba Fett. And the reason I say that, ladies and gentlemen, I saw some people having opinions in the chat, is that Boba's Spurs sound different than the Spurs we heard in this episode. They have a very unique, it's like a high-pitched like whine and like almost like a radio dial sound. So basically, I know it's really early and whatever, but if you're trying to come in here with that nonsense, miss me with that shit. You're lucky.
Miss me with it.
Lucky it's 5 a.m. I get fired up. I'll be banning motherfuckers forever out here.
Look, you don't want me to start raging on the screen with you, Josh. You know what happens when I start flipping out, man.
For sure. For sure.
We don't need that. I ain't got my partner with me to calm me down.
Right. I got one more super chat here. Harry says, not sure if this has been asked, but what would your opinion be on a scene with Rex and Boba meeting? Rex and Boba in a scene together. Al, what do you think?
Man, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready, man. Like that's just too much. Like you got to bring me along slow, man. Like I mean, put it like this: if you get Rex and Boba in a scene together, man, that just would be. It would be really interesting to see my man play both sides of that and to see it. But I don't, just as a fan, that's just fandom overload for me, man. Like I don't know if my senses can handle that shit.
Oh, bro, it's gonna be dope, and I think it's gonna happen. And Tamara will, when he's Rex, he's gonna be like have a big beard,
Yep.
He's gonna be just looking different,
Oh yeah, it's a whole different mannerisms, whole different personality, man. Like that's what's gonna make it so amazing. Is it's gonna be like literally two totally different characters, and you're gonna almost feel like it's two different actors, but it's gonna be this one dude, and if they do that, man, and it pulls off, like again. It's just Star Wars being like in the Mandalorian being leaps and bounds ahead of anything else that we've seen.
Yeah, dude. Like
in a good minute, man. Like I can't believe I'm saying this about some Star Wars shit again, but dude,
back on top, baby. Back on top, baby.
In the game, baby.
Okay, so let's talk about the future of the series. What do you think is going to happen next? Like, what are you looking forward to? Let's just talk future predictions, desires, and then we'll do Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go into straight Q&A where you guys can ask questions. We'll grab them from the chat. You can throw super chats in, but we'll try to grab some from the chat as well. Talk to me about the future of the show, man. What do you think's happening?
Yeah, man. I think if episode 1 comes out swinging like this, then that means I don't think we're gonna have a single down episode in this season. Like at all. I don't think there'll be one throwaway episode in this season. I think everything is going to be wall to wall. I think there's going to be those kind of moments, the Boba Fett moment. We're going to have one of those, I think, in at least every episode, maybe not to that level, but every episode is going to have a moment where you're going to be like, oh shit, that just happened.
Yeah.
And I think it's all going to build toward whatever the next phase or the future is going to be in terms of with the child and how they're going to handle that and getting him back to his people, whether they do that at the end of by the end of the season or not. I don't think they will, to be honest. I don't think it'll happen that soon, but by that point, I think they'll be well on their way to go wherever it is they need to go. But I just think this whole season, man, is just going to be, it's just going to be kind of the dream that we've been waiting for, where you get all of these different eras of Star Wars kind of coming together in one and tying the whole damn thing together. And I'm just ready for that Ahsoka, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm just ready for some Ahsoka, man.
I know, right? And the thing is, dude, they just handled the Boba and Cobb Vanth thing so well that everybody,
Right.
you know, Ahsoka fans, of course, we didn't see her, you know, nothing like that. But I would breathe a sigh of relief and just be like, okay, whew,
Yeah.
okay. You know, like they're doing it the right way. It looks great. Like they honor the lore, et cetera, et cetera. Very, very cool. For me personally, I can't help but geek out about Boba, dude. Like, I don't know how involved he will be in this season. The rumor is kind of involved in this season, heavily involved in next season, and then getting a spin-off show. Now, I talk a lot about the Vong War and Boba. Did you know that Boba was the leader of Mandalore during the Vong War?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he literally is the leader of Mandalore. And at one point,
shit.
he actually works with the Yuuzhan Vong. He actually helps the Vong, but here's what's crazy, Al. He's actually sabotaging them. He's like a double agent. So he like has the Mandalorians like taking out the Vong in this massive war and things like that, right? And man, like I just can't help but geek, bro. Like I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now. But,
God dang it.
But like that, you know, that being said, I think that's pretty much a far way off, but I just can't help it. The fucking
no, I
episode
feel you, man.
got me very, very excited. So I want to see more of that.
I'm with you.
I want to see Bo-Katan real bad because, I mean, like, come on, man. They just made, I mean, like, you said it. You said it. When they were flying around, dude, and they're blasting at the dragon's head, and then they're landing back down. Bro, like, this is mind-blowing stuff. So, you know.
That's cinematic, man. That's you put another 40 minutes into that movie, and I'd have gladly paid whatever price you wanted to charge me to get into a theater to go see that
Hell
shit.
Yeah. I'll go out and get the Rona right now, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
you know
give
what
a
I'm
fuck
saying?
anymore. But
Nope.
that man, imagine seeing someone like Sabine or a Bo-Katan with the jetpacks and all that, because the thing is, Cobb Vanth and Mando aren't even really well trained. I mean, Din says
exactly
right. Like Din says he was trained when he was a boy or whatever.
Right.
But like, dude, Sabine, she's full on Mando. She was born and raised straight out of Mando. You know what I mean? So she would have like an efficacy with the, with the jetpack and shit like that. That would be on another level. That shit is what I'm really excited to see.
And what I hope we get is on some level, Sabine versus Moff Gideon.
Yes.
Like, I gotta see Sabine. Like, nah, homie, that Darksaber don't belong to you.
Well, don't you think it would be Bo though that would take her out at this point, or no?
I don't know, man. It depends on how they want to set her up. If they're trying to really set Bo-Katan up as, you know, the leader of Mandalore and have her come back and redeem herself, then yes. But if they want to go the fan service route, bro, it's got to be Sabine, because we got to see those skills and how they've matured since getting trained, you know, during Rebels, and what she's been able to build onto that, especially if she's been hanging with Ahsoka.
Well,
I gotta see what that's like, man.
Right. You know, there's this other thing that I've been thinking about where, depending on the timing and what is the, you know, because I'm really interested in what the deal with Ezra is and like what's Ahsoka's position and all that. But what if they have Ezra back and he's been with the Ghost crew now for a little bit, what if he built a lightsaber or has an additional lightsaber for Sabine? Because I don't think she's ever gonna actually get the Darksaber back and be like have it full on. But she's been trained by Canon and she's very adept. And even if she had like the slightest bit of force sensitivity, that would be really cool to see her and Ezra like back to back doing some like lightsaber shit. Would be pretty crazy.
Man, that's gonna be, I think, the money shot for when we start getting these Rebel characters in the show. Is gonna be either an action scene with, if they do bring Ezra into the show, it'll be an Ezra Sabine action scene, or it's gonna be a Sabine and Ahsoka scene where they just wrecking shit, bro. Like, there's going to be, I think, a moment in this season where we are going to see Ahsoka and Sabine wreck shit. And it's just going to be like, dude, because you got to think about it. Like, if they're going to do a spinoff show, like a live action Ahsoka series, they've got to build Ahsoka up for the normies. Like, we know who the fuck she is.
Right.
We already salivating for that. But like, the normies don't, they're going to see this chick and be like, oh, well, what's the deal with her? So they're going to have to give those people a reason to want to see an Ahsoka spinoff series. And the way you do that is you have her with those 2 sabers, bro. Like, you know what? I ain't had to do this in a while, but guess what? I'm back, motherfuckers. And just start tearing it up, man. Like,
yeah, man.
That's what I want to see, man. And throw Sabine in there with her. Like you said, if whether it's Ezra that gets her some type of saber, or if she gets her hands on the dark saber, whatever, however you want to handle it. Just give me those 2 and let me see them kill it. Just for a few minutes, man. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, man.
Dude, I think we're gonna get it. I think Christmas is coming early, dude.
Bro.
I want to address this thing.
Man.
JT put in a super chat. JT, appreciate the love, my friend. Says, I see people saying Boba isn't Mandalorian. I know he wasn't in Legends, but has Disney Star Wars said he is not or has not been established yet? So actually in Legends, he was Mandalorian. So in the new canon, it was established in Clone Wars that he's not a true Mandalorian. But that was according to somebody in Death Watch, I believe, or that was associated with Death Watch. And I actually have, here, I'll play this little thing here.
Hey, this is Dave Filoni, supervising director of Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
So I don't know if you can hear this out.
One of my favorite podcasts.
No,
in fact, the only podcast I listen to.
Rebel Force.
Fett was a common bounty hunter. Jango Fett. Jango Fett was a common bounty hunter. How he acquired that armor is beyond me.
In discussions directly with George, he was very adamant about Jango not being Mandalorian, which is the entire reason why that scene existed, that moment. To have
I'm just playing this. I'll let you know when it's done now.
Jango was not Mandalorian, at least not to not to those Mandalorians. So
right. So that's a key point. He says he's not Mandalorian, or at least not true Mandalorian to those Mandalorians. Let's listen to that again.
At least not to not to those Mandalorians. So
he says not to all Mandalorians, and then he says not to those Mandalorians.
Jango was not Mandalorian, at least not to not to those Mandalorians. So, I think the assumption being when Attack of the Clones came out, of course Jango must be a Mandalorian because there he has the armor. But, he's a bounty hunter. Bounty hunters, as we showed in the series, wear all kinds of armor. Of course, Boba Fett famously wearing Mandalorian armor. So you have that tradition of his father's son wearing this armor, but it doesn't speak to like the bigger warrior cast. Now, Jango was a bounty hunter that somehow came into having that armor. Perhaps he ran for a period with Mandalorians, was adopted into that warrior culture.
Did you hear what he said there? He says perhaps he was adopted into that warrior culture. Sounds like a foundling, right?
Mandalorians was adopted into that warrior culture for a period and trained with them and gained greater skills at that point. I think all that's possible. But would he have a direct blood relation to that line like Satine would? No. He wouldn't be a warrior.
So he doesn't have the bloodline like Satine. And so I think, ladies and gentlemen, that basically that was something George wanted to do, and they did it at the time. And I don't know if there was a steadfast plan exactly of what that meant, but I know that Jon Favreau really likes Boba Fett. And I think he figured out a way to bring him back in. And I do believe that Boba, just like Din, will be a foundling. And maybe that'll be something cool that they'll bond over. You know what I mean, Al?
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think that would be, a very easy and a very dope way to connect the two of them is to just say, Boba was a foundling and was kind of adopted into the creed. Like that solves it for you right there.
Yeah.
And that allows Boba to be a Mandalorian, and it allows you to give him a connection to Din Djarin, so that it just, dude, it's the tapestry, man. Like Favreau and Filoni, man.
Yeah, dude. Filoni verse. Let's go, dude. Yeah, let's go. All right, let's break it into Q&A. Al, you got like 20 more minutes? Can you hang for like 20
Let's
more minutes?
go, man. I'm good, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, start getting your questions into the chat. If you really want your question answered, a super chat will guarantee it being answered. But if you don't got any loot, don't worry about it. Just drop a question in. We'll be trying to, we'll try to take it from some of the peoples. So get your chat. So yes, we would be talking about Django being a foundling. That's true. That's true, Damon. That's a very good point. Why did the sequels have to suck? We're not going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going there. It's just not the armor has more meaning. Is Boba pretending to be a Tusken Raider? Same weapon. Is it the same weapon? Al, what do you think? Is he pretending to be a Tusken Raider?
It wouldn't shock me, man. Like I can see that possibly being it, especially with the garb he had on. You know what I'm saying? You throw the hood on, and it very well could be. Like I said, I thought he was going to show up as one of the Sand people. When that whole thing, I was just waiting for him to pull off that shit and be like, oh, that's Boba right there. But like a Tusken Raider, it could be, man. But I think my gut tells me that he's just been on the low. Like my man's just been off the grid, like chilling with, happy that nobody really knows he's around, only other than a select few. You know what I'm saying?
He does have the same rifle. I don't know if that staff that he has is the same though. But he certainly looks. But he's definitely not. I don't think he's pretending. No, I don't. I think he's just on the low. I think you're right. He probably just took that off a Raider.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's a decent question though. I think that's a decent question. Let's see here. Josh, do you remember in the Star Wars Galaxy game you had to kill a crate dragon to get the crate pearl, which needed to construct a lightsaber? Yeah, that is pretty crazy. That is a wicked little Easter egg. In the Star Wars Galaxy game, you had to get that pearl to make a lightsaber at the end, or for your Jedi, and it was like super challenging to do. What if Ahsoka is not in this season? I'll shave my head. I'll shave my head bald. How about that?
So it's interesting you just brought that point up about the egg and the crate dragon, because one of the things that I noticed at the end of that episode was it seemed like they put a lot of emphasis on that egg when it came out.
Yeah.
When they pulled it out, that's that little sphere. I was like, that's not like to say that didn't hit me the same way as it did with the Jawas when they got the egg from the Rancor. Like,
I don't think it's an egg, it's a pearl.
It's a pearl, right?
Yeah.
And so it didn't hit me. Just like when I saw them pull that, it was like that's some crazy like little subtle emphasis they're putting on that. And I thought to myself, I wonder if it's gonna play a role later on.
Yeah, I mean maybe. I mean, or it's just a dope ass Easter egg, but it could play a role moving forward. Yeah,
could be a dope Easter egg, or because now you were saying that the pearl contained a kyber crystal in the game.
No, I don't think so. No, it was like you needed it.
Yeah,
it was just a component that you needed. It was like this just really rare component, as far as I remember.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Let's see here. Why didn't the Mandalorian melt in acid when the dragon swallowed him? Fake news. What do you think? What do you think, Al?
Hey, man. It's best car, man. Whatever. I don't really give it. I think, look, I will forgive them for that one. I think, and maybe the acid thing is not something that lives inside. Maybe that acid's more like venom coming from a snake.
Exactly. It's coming from a gland. I mean, come on, guys. Like, I'm about to end this fucking stream right now because we don't. Were we sleeping in biology class? You think the thing just has acid blood? This ain't fucking James Cameron's Alien. Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's 5:20 in the morning. Wake the fuck up. I don't want to hear no more dumbass questions about like how did the Mandalorian survive up here? Blah blah blah.
Let the would-be trolls make it, man. It's early. It's early.
I'm gonna lose my mind. All right, let's see here. Did you notice Anakin's pod racer engine as the bike? Yes, and we did talk about it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, here for that shit.
Oh, here's an interesting one.
That shit.
Sean asks, do you think Favreau and Filoni got any pushback for including Cobb Vanth, a minor book character? What do you think?
If he did, I hope that like somebody got slapped for it, because why would you give pushback when that's what you tried to sell people on when you bought Star Wars in the first place, that it was all going to be connected?
Yep.
So now you finally got somebody in there that's actually trying to connect some shit, that actually knows the lore. I don't think you would push back on that. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the people that like over Filoni and Favreau even had a clue what the hell Cobb Vanth, who he was anyway. They probably didn't even know. And they were just like, oh, okay, that's fine. We trust you.
Right.
Like,
Man.
I don't think it was any pushback.
No, I don't think so either. But if there was pushback, have you ever seen those videos of like the slap contests where the two dudes? So if there was pushback and it was coming from Kathy or whatever, then I hope that they settled it across from each other at a table playing that slap game.
Bingo.
Because I'm going to tell you this, Favreau ain't losing that game to Kathy.
Nope.
So anyway, moving on. I saw somebody ask, what does Boba want? What does he desire? What do you think about that question? What do you think Boba wants?
That's a good one, man, because it's like, what would his motivation be at this point? Like, would he really give a damn to want to go try to get the people that he thinks are responsible for him ending up in the Sarlacc pit in the first place? Like, it really does make you wonder, like, what is he in it for? Or maybe, he's just kind of just been hanging out and doing his own thing. Maybe that's why he hasn't been really, maybe he hasn't even gone after the armor after he lost it. Maybe Boba Fett, as we remember him, like once the whole Sarlacc incident happened, dude was just like, you know what? I survived, so I'm on some different shit now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a hard question for me to answer, man, because it's so many different ways you could go with it, and I just don't know where they could, like, what direction they would want to take with his arc. Like, I can't. Yeah. Nothing's really popping out to me to say that's why Boba Fett is still on the scene in Tatooine and why he's gonna hook up with Mando. I think that's gonna be something that I almost feel like we won't see coming anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think there's hopefully a great explanation there. It is so curious to me that he would just watch someone wear his armor. Like, I don't understand. There's something there, and it felt very stoic. He felt like a stoic, monk-like, aged samurai-type warrior in those moments. And I know we only see him for a second, and I'm projecting because I'm a total fanboy. Get over it. But point being, there seems to be a change in character if that's what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. His demeanor would indicate to me that, like, he's undergone some kind of a transformation and I mean, think about it. Getting swallowed up by that motherfucker, like, who wouldn't? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some shit that'll make you start rethinking what you got going on in a heartbeat.
Right.
So,
and then you come out and your boss is dead, right? The guy that hired you is dead, and soon after that, you're probably like just putting your life back together, and then all of a sudden the Empire's gone.
The Empire's gone. Yeah, man. It's just that, and that's going to be an interesting thing to watch is just his evolution and where he is now, and finding that out and seeing how he fits into like this new post-Imperial era, dude. Like, that's just going to be crazy, man.
It's going to be dope, man. I really want to see him get the juice. I want to see him get his due, as a big fan. I can't wait. Here's the other question. Is Slave One on this planet somewhere, dude?
Oh.
Like, are we getting the fire spray? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love that ship. I love that ship. And I would really hope that he still has that moving forward.
Yeah, man. I don't think they would do us like that, man. I think we might see it.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Hashtagger says, did the first half seem slower than the second half? Totally. Yep, that was Al's first point, and I agree. I definitely think the first part of it was a little bit slower, but I'm not mad because you can do that when you've got like an hour episode. I would have been pissed if it like ended halfway through that shit and nothing was going on, and we were like, well, it's 22 minutes. Let's call it a day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. If that had been just a two-parter or some shit like that, I'd have been really disappointed. But like you said, if you give me an hour worth of content and the first 15 to 20 minutes is kind of setting the stage for what we got going on, I'm cool with that, especially when you backload the episode with so much dope shit. Like if you think about it, you go back and you watch the final 20 minutes, that final 20 minutes was like every fucking thing. Like you were glued to that episode for that at least the last 20 minutes. And the payoff you get at the end of it makes everything you watched in that first 15, 20, 25 minutes makes it all worth it, because it's like you get fucking Boba Fett at the end of the episode. Like it makes it worth it. Like, and like you said, because they had a longer episode, which I really hope that that's the format for this season. Yeah. Like I hope every episode is a minimum of 45 minutes. Dude,
I was just thinking that. I need it.
It's gotta be, man. It's gotta be. I understand why season 1 wasn't that way. I get that. But if you're going to come out swinging like this with the first episode, man, don't tease me like that. Yeah. Give me a minimum of 45 minutes every episode and let it from an effects standpoint be just as good as that first episode, which 100%. I think we're going to get both. 100%. I think every episode is going to be at least 45. And I think the quality and the scale is going to be just what we got with this episode.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I saw a cool comment in here. David says, they finally put the Sand People to use. All they really ever did was sneak around and attack or yell at you since the 1970s.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, man, they did a phenomenal job of setting these cats up to be a part of the lore, not just kind of a backdrop. Because it was almost the same thing with the Jawas, you know what I'm saying, until last season. And it's like you see some interaction with them on a deeper level or whatnot. And to give the Sand People this, you know, kind of place, and to give them, you know, allow them to be communicative and to see them in the show this way, kind of interacting and being an integral part of it as opposed to a backdrop, that just builds the lore and solidifies the shit that much more. It does. That makes you invested in the world, not just watching the show. Like that's the type of shit that converts normies into hardcore, because there's depth, there's levels to this shit. I love it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude. I 100% agree. I think I couldn't have said it better myself, dude. Anthony says here, who is Sasha Banks playing in season 2 of The Mandalorian? When does she show up? And is it going to be a character from Squadrons in the games? No. I mean, what we believe right now is that Sasha Banks is going to be playing Sabine Wren. I don't know when she'll show up. But yeah, that's our current best guess, which Tony, you know, because you've been watching the videos. Why you asking me questions like this, motherfucker? Come on.
Oh, they on trigger mode. They on trigger mode, dude, man. They know.
They saw the crack in my armor, and now they're like, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get him.
He's not a machine.
So what about Obi-Wan's Crate Dragon impression? That's a good point. I want to go back now and compare it to what we saw and heard in this episode. Keller says, what's the next step in finding Baby Yoda's origin, or who do you think releases that information to Mando? What do you think about that? What do you think the next step is?
I think the next step is finding whatever character from Rebels. Right. I think that's going to be the next step. And what I really think, after doing a little Rebels rewatch, is I think the key to that just might very well be Ezra Bridger. I think Ezra, and when you look at, you know, the whole Children of the Force and how they were being, you know, sought out, and they kind of made it their purpose to kind of look out. Like, I think that's going to be where, and if not Ezra, then definitely Ahsoka. Like one of those two, whether it's and I almost want to put Ahsoka and Sabine kind of in the same box, because I feel like they're probably going to be a tandem, because of the fact that they're still going to be on this hunt for Ezra. Yep. I think when we see them,
or they've got Ezra already.
Yeah, or they could very well already have Ezra, but I think
either way, though, they would have gone through the journey together to get him, so they would have a very strong bond. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that however they end up running into the Mandalorian, that's going to be what sets off the whole idea of getting the child to his people. And I don't think that's something that we're going to get in this season.
Right.
Like I don't think we're going to see that reunion in this season. I think it won't be until towards the end of the season that we even get an idea of where that needs to be.
Sure.
Like I don't even think we'll get any of that. I think it's just going to be more of Din Djarin trying to find these people and uncovering clues and people that can point him in the right direction, and that kind of drawing him into some bigger deal or some bigger situation. Yeah. And I think that's the way that'll unfold.
No, I like that, dude. I think that would be pretty dope. I expect something similar as well, dude. No, yeah, that sounds dope. Let's knock out these last couple super chats, and then we got to call it. I'm gonna watch this episode again and try to get some sleep.
Word.
Sufi's coming in with the $4.99, says, what do you think the character arc of baby Mando today be this season? I feel like he's been observing Mando for a while and taking on an identity. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that? Because he has been watching Din, you know?
Yeah. I think at some point you're going to see the next, and we talked about this on After Dark. I think you'll see the next evolution of the child, right? And I think it's going to be him speaking. Like I think it's going to be.
We heard like almost something like that in this episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what is. I think that'll be the next thing, and then I think what will be the kind of, and I don't know if this will be in season 2 necessarily, but I think the bigger question will be, does he follow his Jedi like lineage or what they seem to, because he's a force sensitive being, or does he lean more towards the creed of the Mandalorian? And which way does he go? And I think that's where it's going to be. That's going to be the choice that ultimately he will have to make, is which one. Now, could he be both? Why not? Like he could definitely be both.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be kind of where it goes, is it's like, all right, so he's been with, Mando all this time and he's learned from him.
Yeah.
But he's got these people telling him his destiny is to be a Jedi and to go study the ways of the Force. And he might be like, nah, man, I want to go do what this dude did for me.
Yeah.
And that being kind of a bigger question or a bigger part of the plot as we move forward. But I think as far as this season's concerned, the next step for him in evolution is going to be, 1, him talking, but then 2, him in some way having more to do with the action towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like him actually being involved in some of this shit and really starting to get a handle on his force powers.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the long-term projections with Baby Yoda are really interesting, because I think that he is a sort of bridge in between the Mandalorians and the Jedi. And it's so cool that like the armor talks about the ancient wars that they fought against those sorcerers, and he's like they refer to them as like an enemy, but that doesn't know it's an enemy or whatever. And talking about that, and how he's gonna have to take it to essentially enemies. The other sorcerers would be enemies. Yeah. And so I think like imagine like like actual Yoda being like 900 years old or whatever, but having had the experience of being raised by a Mandalorian. And then imagine that Mandalore and the Jedi both reestablish themselves as we move forward in the timeline, and they still have their conflict, but they have a few connections, and Baby Yoda is one of those connections. Yeah. The relationship between Sabine and Ezra is also one of those connections. So there's some really interesting stuff going on there with that character. But I think you're right. In the short term, it'll be him getting a little bit more active with his force powers. Maybe we'll see some really interesting force powers done. Speaking, I think, is definitely a part of it. I don't think we're going to get much from him in the way of... I actually think we'll end the series with him still pretty much a child. Maybe he can speak a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be like flipping around lightsaber training and shit. I think we will see Baby Yoda in the way future, though, as a force sensitive Jedi being.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's ultimately where it will go. And this was kind of a question I asked earlier tonight too, was do we see or what is going to be the thread that ties this period of Star Wars to the sequel trilogy? Like, because ultimately you've got all these characters and either all of them are dead by the time we get to the sequel trilogy, or they were all somewhere else while all this is going on. And I don't think it's going to be the same situation like we had with Ezra, where he's out somewhere in the unknown regions and just all of a sudden, he's found and comes back. I think this will be a purposeful departure for, Baby Yoda and whoever else goes with him, whether that's Ahsoka, whether that's Sabine, or whatever the case may be. They're going to be out either exploring or looking for something else that they feel like is way bigger than this whole Sith Empire type shit. They're like, nah, we know that's there, but Ezra came and told us about some shit.
Right.
And we got to go deal with that.
Right.
And that's where I think that, and so it'll be interesting to see how they tie that together and what that means for, Baby Yoda and for the rest of the characters that we have in the series that don't get killed off. Like what happens that takes them off the board for the sequel trilogy?
Yep, absolutely. Or, yeah, you're right. Takes them off the board or keeps them on a different board, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's knock a few of these. I want to just try to knock these out and then get out of here. Bren, thank you so much for the $9.99. How do you guys think they're going to handle the voice difference between Rosario and Ashley? If they don't use Ashley, how do you think people will react? What do you think about that, man? That's on a lot of people's minds, Al.
Man, look, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference, to be honest. Like, I think when because the one thing that you can do to explain the difference is age.
Right.
And she's matured. Like, we don't, it's been some years now. So for her to, it's not going to be Ashley, but Mario's going to be able to do Ahsoka justice with the voice. And again, the only people that will have a huge problem with it are going to be the diehards, because again, normies aren't going to know Ahsoka like that. They're not going to be a stickler for it like we will. Like, we'll sit there and notice that and say, well, that doesn't sound like the Ahsoka I remember. But normies are just going to be, this will be their first introduction to Ahsoka. So I don't think it's going to be that huge of a deal at all.
Yeah. So I'll take it one step further, actually. I think a lot of people in this instance are really underestimating Rosario's acting, really and truly, because I think she's incredible, and I think she actually has a lot of range. And I don't think she's going to just use the Rosario voice. I mean, I could be wrong here, but I think she will bring it up a couple of octaves. I think she will emulate what Ashley did. I think she has a lot of respect for the character. I think she has a lot of respect for the fans. I think Rosario is going to do an incredible job. So I don't anticipate it being a big deal, but I actually think the voice might be a little bit more spot on and closer than a lot of people are thinking is possible.
And let's just keep it 100, man. Motherfuckers are waiting to find a reason to hate Ahsoka in the Mandalorian. You know that. Yep. We know Star Wars fans, man. We waiting to nitpick. So there's going to be, I think, regardless of how well Rosario nails it, there'll be a pocket of fans that don't like the shit. Which, okay, that's cool. You're entitled to that. But my thing is it going to be to a point where it's breaking the immersion or the experience of the show? Hell no, man. It's live action Ahsoka. Like, say no more. Like, that's all we need, man.
Let's go, Yeah, I agree.
That's it.
I agree. All right, couple more here. Cobb Vanth speeder bike looked awfully similar to Anakin's pod racer engine. Do you think there's a link there? Yes, Brandon. We talked about this, and we definitely think that was Anakin's engine, and we also think it's fantastic. I'm going to buy the hot toy. Whatever they make of that, it's incredible. And then Zay G just says, this is lit, guys. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. All right, Al, we got to call it, my friend.
Yes, sir. Dude,
any last minute things you want to say to the peeps?
I just want to say this. Star Wars is back, motherfuckers.
Star Wars is back.
Star Wars is back, all the way back. Miss me with the shit we dealt with at the end of 2019. I ain't even gonna give it a name.
Yep.
Miss me with all of that blowback we had. We are back in the shits now. Let's focus on that.
Amen. Let's focus on this. Focus on this story. Focus on the coming Filoni verse and how cool everything is. Boba's back. It's incredible. If you don't think it's that dope, it's all good. You don't got to yuck other people's young. Just let these motherfuckers have this. Luke Skywalker had to drink the titty milk, ladies and gentlemen. He's sucking on the titty milk, okay? We lost one of them. We're getting one of them back. Boba's coming back. It's going to be dope. Can I get an amen? And I just want everybody, amen. And I'm just telling you right now, Star Wars fans, we're back on top, baby.
Yes, where we should have been. Let's go.
And
Let's go.
I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And we will see you in the next